Hello, dear students. I welcome you all on behalf of Sri Jayendra Rangjong classes. Dear students, today we are going to discuss our new chapter, that is biodiversity and conservation, the class 12th chapter. Okay, and in that we are going to discuss that how the biodiversity, what is biodiversity actually, where this biodiversity is found, what is the variance of that, what is the chances of loss of them, and how we can conserve this biodiversity, that we are going to discuss in this chapter. Okay, so if we talk about this biodiversity, then in introductory part, if we tell, then if an alien from a distant galaxy were to visit our planet Earth, the first thing that would amaze and baffle him would most probably be the enormous diversity of life that he would encounter on this Earth. So there is a diverse lives are there, diverse organisms are there, diverse enormous diversity of life is there. Even for humans, the rich variety of living organisms with which they share this planet never ceases to astonish and fascinate us. That also we know that it is a diversity fascinates us about the too many things. And biodiversity is inherent in the occurrence of various types of environmental conditions in different parts of an area, as well as the earth, and the presence of various forms of life adapted to these different environmental regions. Okay, so this is the thing, and the diverse particular we can say the diversity is that the common man, that is we human commonly, would find it hard to believe that there are more than 20,000 species of ants. Till today we have just listened the word ants, but and we have seen only one type of ant, but there is a 20,000 species of ants, 3 lakh species of beetles, we know only one, 28,000 species of fishes, we know few of them only, and 20,000 species of orchids. We have just heard about the orchid, not that about the species. 20,000 species are there. So this much diversity is there, and biodiversity is not uniform. It is tremendous in some places, moderate in others, and low in certain regions. Okay, so it is a particularly wide variety you can see. So what I told you, there are how many species? 20,000 species of ants. Then there is a 3 lakh species of beetles. Then 28,000 species of fishes. And 20,000 species of orchids. Okay, so this many species are there. And by understanding this many things, we understood that there is a tremendous biodiversity, moderates in others and certain regions. And ecologists and evolutionary biologists are trying to understand the significance of such a tremendous diversity. After all, we can understand here that biodiversity is not uniform. What we understood? Biodiversity is not uniform. That we should understand from here. And after all, why are these so many species are there? Did such already diversity exist all the time, or it is only for recent development? How has the diversity come into existence? What is the importance of biodiversity in the biosphere? What is the importance of human being? Such so many questions are there like that. What would be the effect of lesser diversity on biosphere as well as human interest? That all things, all questions are there, and we are going to discuss this chapter to answer these questions. So first we are going to discuss biodiversity, okay, and then we will discuss the levels of biodiversity. So if we talk about the biodiversity, then we remember that term biodiversity was popularized by was popularized by sociobiologist, that is Edward Wilson. Okay, and when Edward Wilson's given this particular important term, that is biodiversity, they describe the combined diversity. He described combined diversity or heterogeneity at all the levels of at all the levels of biological organization, right from macromolecule within the cells, genes, genes, species, ecosystem, and biomes. Okay, so till this, all these things are have been explained. Okay, so diversity, he described diversity at all these levels. Now, the three most important hierarchical levels of biodiversity are known. And when we talk about the levels of biodiversity, these three types of biodiversity we are going to discuss. The immense diversity, heterogeneity occur at all levels of biological organization, as we have discussed just in the previous slide. And three, most of them are there. And the first in that we are going to discuss, that is the genetic diversity. Dear student, genetic diversity refers to the variation of genes. What it means? The genetic diversity refers to the diversity or a variation of the genes within a species. Means within a species, what different kind of genes are present. Now, this difference is could be in alleles, there is a different variants of some genes, in entire gene that differ from one species to another species, or there can be a chromosomal variation in chromosomal structure in the individuals of our species. So, whatever the variation found in the individuals of one species at a genetic level will be considered as genetic diversity. And genetic diversity enables the population, okay, to adapt to its environment. Actually, any and or population or any species is adapted to a particular environment, that is due to the variation in their genes, and to respond to the natural selection. If a species are more genetic diversity, it can adapt better. The adaptation is better to the changed environmental condition if the species has a more genetic diversity, or that is in the particularly genes. Okay, so lower diversity in a species lead to uniformity. If there is a lower genetic diversity, that lead to the uniformity. As in case with the large monoculture of a genetically similar crop plant, means large monoculture, if we are taking monoculture, single cultures. So one crop we are taking, and from this so many cultures we have to, so all are considered as monocultures. Okay, so these monocultures have a lower diversity, and it is known that this is advantage with the increased crop production is a consideration. It has advantage, that is increases the crop production with this monoculture, but can be a problem when the insect or fungal disease attack the particular field in the monoculture. So poses a threat to the whole crop, because whole crop have the same genes. So if the particular insect or fungus is going to attack the one crop, then it can attack the whole crop, and the whole crop is washed from this particular environment or that particular field. So total genetic diversity of a community will be greater if there are many species. Of this genetic diversity will be of community will be greater if there are many species, as compared to a situation where there will be only a few species, compared to the situation where there will be only a few species. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, if we talk about the genetic diversity within a species, often increases with the environmental variability. Means if environmental variation increases, then you will see that the change in genes also can be observed and genetic diversity will be more. So first, if we take an example, then it is a measure of variety of genetic information contained in an organism. If specific organism is there, and genetic diversity, if we talk, it has a much genetic information and variation in the genetic information. If we take example, viruses are there which are too small but has 10 to 150 genes. Same way, mycoplasma is the smallest bacteria, which is also known as PPLO, that also has a 450 to 700 genes. Oryza sativa is a rice which has a 30,000 to 50,000 genes. So these are the small plants, but each cell has this many genes. And it is known that India has greater than 50,000 genetically different strains of rice and 1,000 varieties of mango. We eat mostly 5 to 10 varieties of mango, but there are 1,000 varieties of mango. So genetic variation shows that this many variation can be observed, and genetic variation shown by one more medicinal plant. If we take an example, that is a raw Wolffia vomitaria. Now, this raw Wolffia vomitaria is one plant which shows genetic diversity as it is growing in a different Himalaya ranges, and in different Himalaya ranges it vary in terms of the potency and concentration of the active chemical, that is reserpine. It releases one chemical that is known as reserpine. So in the variation, they show variation in the potency from one plant to another plant in the potency and the concentration of this reservoir chemical. Okay. Now this particular help to form different ecotypes that and plays a key role in a process of speciation. Okay. Now here we remember this genetic diversity enables a population to adapt in different environment. It also informs some different ecotypes, means genetically fixed population. It plays a key role in process of speciation. It can form a new species. It maintains diversity at community level as well. Okay, so this is a genetic diversity, and genetic diversity is found at a genetic level in the particular species. And these are the things with respect to the genetic diversity. Now, second level diversity we will discuss, that is a species diversity. And this species diversity refers to the variety of species within a region. If we take a particular region, if there is a different varieties of species are found, within that region, that is considered as with this variation is considered as a species diversity, because there is a variety of species are there. And if we take an example, Western Ghats are there which are more diverse than the Eastern Ghats with respect to amphibians. Okay, so Western Ghats have a greater amphibian species diversity as compared to the Eastern Ghats. And it is known that this species diversity is defined as it is a product of species richness and species evenness. Okay, so species diversity is defined that is a product of species richness product. So we multiply this species richness into species evenness, then it is going to give a species diversity. And species richness, if we talk, it is the number of species present within a unit area. Species richness is the number of species present in a unit area, but species evenness, if we talk, or species equability, we can call it. Okay, there is a proportionate number of individuals of a different species. Okay, so here we can understand that the species evenness or species equality is a proportionate number of individuals of a different species or taxonomic group. Evenness means if two species are there, if the number of individuals of that particular species are equal or they can vary. So that is species evenness. So communities where a species are represented by more or less than equal number of individuals exhibit evenness. Means if the three A, B, and C species have both all three species have a two individuals, means they are showing evenness. And where if A have one species, B have a two species, and C have one species, then there is a unevenness. So others where one or more species has more individuals than the others show a dominance or unevenness. And it is also known that maximum taxonomic diversity occurs when species of taxonomically different group occur in almost equal abundance. Maximum diversity occur when a species of taxonomically different group occur in almost equal abundance. Okay, so if we want to understand these all terms, the species richness, number of species present in an area, then species evenness about the number of individuals of that particular species. If we want to make the formula correct, that is species diversity is defined as a product of species evenness and species richness, then we have to take an example. And if we take an example, let's understand it with the example. Now, in the example, we are going to take a different plots, and in different plots, there is a different types of organisms. Okay. Now let's see. So we are going to take up example, and in that question is which sample area, we have to answer that which sample area shows maximum diversity. Shows maximum diversity. So if we take a first area, and in that we are taking birds, and the four species of birds are there. Insects are there. Its insects have four species. An elephant have four species. Same way we are taking a second group, second area, and that we are taking crow, which has a 8 number, pigeon, which are 80 number, cuckoo, which are 80 number, and mayana, which are 80 number. So this is the B plot. Third area or third plot is where the pigeon are 10, then crow are 3, insects have 7 species, and fourth is there where a butterfly have 20 individuals, then banana fly that is also 20 individuals, and lizards that have 20 individuals. So this is A, B, C, D. We have to show that which area has the maximum diversity. So if we try to show it, okay, then if we see first that has the birds, insect, and elephants, means birds, aves are there, insect, the different group is there, elephant, the different group is there. In the B group, all are the birds. In pigeon, crow, and these two are the birds, but this is the insects. And here the butterfly is there, banana fly is and lizard are. These are also different. So if we talk about the maximum diversity, the totally unrelated individuals are there in the fourth one. Okay, butterfly, banana fly, and lizard. But butterfly, banana fly are somewhat related. Okay. In second, these all are the birds, so it is cannot be the answer. In the third, pigeon are 10, crow are 3, insects are 7, means different. Two birds are in there, and the fourth is third is the insect, but the unevenness is seen in the number of individuals or a species unevenness. But in A, you can see the birds, insects, and elephant are totally unrelated. Okay, and in that also there is a what particularly we can say the evenness is also shown. So answer is going to be the one. Okay, show the maximum diversity. But if we take another question, suppose there is a crow, pigeon, cuckoo. Okay, it has two species. It has a one species. It has a six species. Okay, but another B we are getting. This is the A set and this is the B plot. This has crow. It's the three species. Pigeon, three species, and cuckoo, three species. So which has the more diversity? So we can answer that B has a greater than A. B has a more diversity than A because it is showing a species evenness. Okay, in this. Okay, so because of this, B has a greater diversity than the A. So this is the thing which is seen in case of the particular, we can say the species diversity. Okay, now after species diversity, we can understand a third type of diversity which is known as community or ecosystem diversity. This community or ecosystem diversity is the diversity at the level of community and ecosystem, and is a three perspective. Means it is the diversity at the community level. So it is a variety of ecosystem which indicate diversity in the number of niches. If we compare one ecosystem with the other, then we compare with the number of niches, trophic level, food web, nutrient cycle, ecological processes. If we compare all these things, then the ecological processing, energy flow, then it was, or this all comparison of two different ecosystems with respect to these levels will show ecological diversity. And it is considered that ecological diversity is high in India because of the occurrence of large number of ecosystems like desert, rainforest, mangrove, coral reefs, wetlands, estuaries, alpine meadows, all this. And it is quite low in small countries like Scandinavian country like Norway. Okay, so it is high in India, and this is the comparison of a community or ecosystem with some of the characteristics we have discussed. Now in this, the first one is the alpha diversity. It is of three types: alpha, beta, and gamma diversity. Alpha diversity refers to the diversity of organisms sharing the same community or habitat. So it is a diversity of a community or within a community. So it is called a local diversity, or it is a diversity within a community. So if we compare a one community and if we are talking a diversity within a community, okay, then it is known as alpha diversity. Now, the rate of replacement of a species along a gradient of a habitat or community is called a beta diversity. Means beta diversity between the community. Okay. So it is calculated by dividing gamma by alpha diversity, and it is diversity between the two communities. So beta diversity is equal to gamma by alpha. So within a community, if we are talking about the diversity, community diversity, then it is the alpha diversity. If we are talking about the two community and we are comparing the diversity, then it is the beta diversity. And if a diversity of the habitat over a total landscape or a large geographical area, if we are comparing different ecosystem at a large geographical area, then it is known as gamma diversity. So it is along a large geographical area or a diversity of a region, then it is called a regional diversity also. Okay. So if you want to understand, then we can understand this by this particular thing. Okay, so you can see here, this is the one community, and alpha community diversity is of a community. So in community, if we talk about the diversity of this species, this are the similar type of species, this is the similar type of species. If we count the number of species in the particular community, then different species, then it is alpha diversity. But if we comparing this community with this community, then it is a beta diversity between the community. If we comparing along a large region or a geographical area, then it is a gamma diversity. So it represents gamma diversity represents the total richness of species in all habitat found within the region, geographical area or landscape area. India is more diverse than the norm. So India is endowed with a rich diversity of biogeographical regions. India is considered as more diverse, more ecologically diverse, and it has a rich diversity of biogeographical regions due to the varying physical condition and species grouping. Now it is known that wildlife history of India has divided the country into 10 biogeographical regions. Wildlife, okay, that divided the India into the 10 country into 10 biogeographical regions. Among the 10 biogeographical regions, among the 10 biogeographical regions, Deccan Peninsula has the most extensive coverage of Indian landmass, that is 42%. Deccan. The most biodiversity rich zone are the Western Ghats and the Northeast, account for 4 to 5.2% of the geographical area respectively. Okay, so these are the some of the most important diverse areas of the India. Okay, so now after understanding this many things, we come to clear that it has taken a million of years of evolution to accumulate the diversity in nature, but we could lose all that wealth in less than the 2 centuries. So if the present rate of species loss continue, biodiversity and its conservation are now vital environmental issues of international concern as more and more people around the world begin to realize the critical importance of biodiversity for our survival and well-being. Now, what is the importance? What they are? That we will discuss now onwards. So, first we have to discuss the pattern of biodiversity. Now, if we discuss a pattern of biodiversity, before that we have to discuss some more important points. So now, discussing after discussing these different types of diversity, that is, we can say genetic, species, and ecological diversity. Now we are going to answer one question: that how many species are there on Earth, and how many in India? Okay, that question we are going to answer. So according to IUCN, that is International Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, 2004, the total number of plant and and animal species described so far described so far is slightly more than 1.5 million. Okay, so that is slightly more than approximately 1.7, 1.8 million species have been described till date. But we have no clear idea of how many species are yet to be discovered and described. We don't know how many species still to be discovered and described. An estimate of species vary widely, and many of them are only educational guesses. Scientists estimate the number of species present in tropic by comparing the species richness between the tropical and temperate areas. And for many taxonomic groups, species inventories are more complete in temperate than in the tropical country. So, estimates are made of the number in tropics on the basis of temperate tropical species richness of some exhaustively studied groups like insects. Okay, so based on this, the particular naming is done. Now, it is also known that on this basis, scientists calculated that scientists calculated that total number of species in the world, total number of species in the world ranges from 20 to 50 million. But Robert May is one scientist with his conservative and scientifically sound estimate. He placed the number of global species diversity. He said, according to Robert May, number of global species diversity at about 7 million. So that is the thing which is seen in case of this particular one. So this is the number of species on the earth and India. Now if we talk about some interesting facts about earth biodiversity based on currently available species inventories. So let's discuss some of the facts about earth's biodiversity. And when we talk about the fact of earth biodiversity, we come to know that number of first fact is number of animal species is more than 70%, is greater than 70%, whereas plants, which include algae, fungi, bryophyte, bryophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, account for nearly 22% of total. Okay, so nearly 22% of the total are the plant species, plant diversity, number of plant species, whereas the animal species are more than 70%. And it is also known that among animals, insects are most species rich taxonomic group. Insects are most species rich taxonomic group. So among the animals, insects are most diverse. And here, insects account for greater than 70% of total animals. Means out of 10 animals on this planet, 7 are insects. So this is the animal diversity compared to plant diversity. So animal diversity is more. So now the question which obviously come in our mind, that why the animal diversity is more, or why the animal have achieved this greater diversification than the plant. So if you want to answer this question, let's answer it. So next question which we can ask here, that why animals have achieved greater diversification than plant. So if you answer this question, the first thing is that they have a nervous system to receive stimuli. So they have nervous system. So this nervous system help them to receive a stimuli and respond against them. And due to they have a nervous system which make them to respond properly. Okay. And most of them, their responses, and most of their responses means animals' responses are adapted for are adaptive for their survival, in changing environment. Okay, so that is the first thing. After this, the second thing is that they are mobile. So move to new areas to avoid competition. So now, why animals have achieved greater development? Because they have a nervous system, and due to which they can adapt better in the changing environment. Apart from this, they have ability. So if ability of movement, so if there is unfavorable environment in a particular area, they will migrate to the another area and they avoid the competition. And the third reason is that they are subjected to they are subjected to less seasonal and more constant environment. So less seasonal and more constant environment. So due to presence of more constant environment, the adaptation and the evolution is better. And because of this, the animals have a greater diversification. Apart from this, if we consider the plants, we know that the plants are fixed. We know that plants are fixed and require fewer evolutionary adaptation and require fewer evolutionary adaptations in order to obtain their requirement of water, in order to obtain their requirement of water, minerals, and sunlight. All this resulted in higher species diversity among animals than the plant. Okay, otherwise plants are fixed, so they should not show adaptation compared to animals. So because of this, animal diversity is more. Now, so the question is, among animals, if insects are more diverse, then what are the of enormous regions of enormous diversification of insects? And in that, the regions of enormous diversification of insect, it is known that a thing, a thick and strong chitinous cuticle cover the whole body of insect as exoskeleton. So it provides this exoskeleton provides strength and protection to body. Strength and protection to body and prevents loss of water. So due to their protective exoskeleton, the insects are today the most successful animal of nature. And they are widespread and can be observed anywhere on land, in water, or even in air due to this exoskeleton, which provides them a strength and protection to their body. Because of this, insects are more diverse on this. Now, the insects are diverse. Apart from this, number of fungi species and other species are also there. So if we talk about the number of fungi species, there are 72,000 species in world, and it is more than, and this 72,000 species it is more than it is more than combined total of combined total of the species of fishes, combined total of fishes, that is having a 28,000 species, than the amphibians, which has 4,780 species, then reptiles, which has 7,150 species. So 7,150 species of reptiles. And if we talk about mammals, mammals have 4,650 species. Okay, so this is the thing which is seen in case of the, we can say, particularly fungus species are more. So insects are more diverse, and in plants it is also considered that angiosperms are most diverse species, diverse organism. Most species diverse in plants. Okay, and there are 12 mega diversity countries, means which have a majority mega diversity countries, means they have too much diversity. And this India is on 8th rank among 12 mega diversity countries. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, estimates mentioned above, all this did not have any figure for prokaryotes. Biologists are not sure about how many prokaryotic species are there might be. So in this, we have calculated the diversity of, we can say, insects, animals, plants, but biologists, it is known that biologists are not sure about how many prokaryotic species there might be, because the reasons for this is that the first reason as conventional taxonomic methods conventional taxonomic methods are not suitable for identification and characterization of microbial species. So conventional taxonomic methods are not suitable for identification and characterization of microbial species. And the second, many species, bacterial species, are not culturable under laboratory conditions. Because of this, we don't know about some many species. So if biochemical and molecular criteria are employed for distinguishing species of prokaryote, then the diversity may run into millions. Okay, so because of this, it is difficult to identify the diversity of prokaryotic species for the biologists. Now, the question is, what is the biodiversity of India? So if we talk about the biodiversity of India, India is divided into 10 biogeographical regions. India is divided into 10 biogeographical regions. And among 10 biogeographical regions, India has only 2.4% of the world's land area, of the world's land area. And among 2.4% world's area, India have 8.1% species diversity of world. 8.1% species diversity of the world. Due to varying physical conditions, and species grouping. So 8.2.4% area and 8.1% species diversity of the world. So because of this, we can say it has a great diversity, and because of this, India is one of the 12 mega diversity countries of the world. There are nearly, in India, if we talk, nearly 45,000 species of plant and twice as many of animal species. And twice are animal species in the earth. And if we accept May's global hypothesis, only 22% of the total species have been recorded so far. Only 22% of total species have been recorded so far. So applying this proposition to India's diversity figure, we estimate that there are probably more than 1 lakh plant species and more than 3 lakh animal species have to be discovered and described. So it will require obviously a large trained manpower of taxonomists and a lot of time to complete the inventory of the biological wealth of our country. However, a very large number of species that are yet to be discovered are facing the threat of becoming extinct even before they discover. So many species will die, are there which may be lost before discover them. Okay, so this is the what we can say about the particularly diversity of the earth, and that is of the particularly we can say the India. Okay, so I hope you understood this type of diversity and the diversity in world and India. Now we will discuss patterns of biodiversity in the next separate lecture. Okay, I hope you understood this first lecture very well. Thank you everyone.